Hello, my name is Devin Rhodes, and this is going to be my video showing off my two features and art asset for Final Fantasy. So we will hop right in. The main things I was working on was the run button in battle. I fixed up the battle system because it wasn't working too well, and then I also added in critical hits. So we will hop into a fight. See, we got the Gygus worms right here. Before I fixed it, none of the sprites were loading in at all, and the cursor would go away after the first person went. So now you can see they can pick between the different dudes. It only shows up for the ones that are active. So we'll do one turn of the fight to see if we can get a critical hit in. And then it has the player up here. It's still showing all the enemies as imps, and I believe that is mainly because the the imp is the only text that's in the canvas, so that'll be pretty easy to swap out with whatever other enemies are active. So just want to illustrate the system. So I believe that was a critical hit there a minute ago, where that one it was dealing 1 damage, where the other player was dealing 2 damage, because they should all be dealing the same amount. So that's just kind of showing that right there. Now we'll set up a run for each of the characters, and the imps will still attack, and there we go, successful run. So we're able to leave, and those are the main things that I did in-game. Let me hop over to the code and show you the code side as well. First I want to hop over into images to show the two art assets I brought in. So I brought in I believe they're just the Ice Imp and the Ice Wolf, which at the moment I have them pretty much just popping up randomly. So if you're going to be fighting a wolf, there's a 50% chance it'll be the Ice Wolf, 50% chance it'll be normal, same for the Imp. And we will go into the code to show that off. So this is pretty much how I got all the sprites working correctly. They were initially in there before, they were initially in the game with a load function, and that didn't seem to be working correctly. So I swapped that out to check to see what is the monster identity, and then if it's 0, it is the imp, which since the imp has 2 different options, it's just checking a random number between 1 and 10. If it is less than 5, it's the normal imp. If it's greater than 6 or 6, then it's the ice imp. Here we have the Gygus worm, which is setting that sprite as active. Black Widow. I took out Garland was the boss. Garland was in the normal fight rotation, so I ended up just swapping him out with the Black Widow so that we wouldn't have to worry about him for the time being. And then down here you have the wolf as well, where it's the same thing as above. It's just checking randomly and setting that correct monster as active. And then you can see over here, I will pop over to the fight scene itself. So pretty much just that there's an empty capsule on each of these dudes, and the top left is going to be Monster 1, bottom right is going to be Monster 9, and then there's just these sprites where it's just each of the different sprites, and it's just turning them off and on for whatever dude it's supposed to be. And then we'll hop back over in here, and we'll start with, so there was a player run script in here before that wasn't seeming to working so super well, so I made a new one for me. I ended up using the properties that the past scripter used as well. These weren't something that I was super familiar with, but I saw that since most of the game was already using these properties, that I would use it as well. And pretty much this script just checks to see if the run is positive or false, and then target is keeping track of the monster that you were fighting. So we will hop back over into the monster behavior script. We will be able to find the running from battle and critical hits, I believe. We scroll down. Alright, so here are critical hits right here. So pretty much we just have the crit is between 1 and 10. If it is 2 or below, so pretty much if it's 2 or 1, we do 2 damage. If it is 3 or above, we do the normal 1 damage. And pretty much that's just a nice little way to give extra damage. And then that can be like modularly scaled up based off of level. I know each character has a certain level of luck that they have tied to them. And at the moment, since we only have the fighter in the game, I just did it with this random 1 through 10 and kept it at 2. But once we have each of the characters' lucks in the game, we can have a little thing in here that checks to see which character's active, what's their luck, and see if that needs to come into play with rolling for the crit itself. And then down here, we will... Oh yeah, and this is just for like each... So the go-go is each of the different characters. So it pretty much has the same section of script in each of the characters to make sure that each of them will be able to critical the same amount. And I guess it could be changed like right in there. So if we wanted to have whoever's at number 3 deal more, have a higher chance of a critical hit, I could change this to 3, this to 4, and then there's just that little bit more chance that they could hit better. And then we will move down here. And then this, vast majority of the script was here when I got here. I just made changes to add in the features that I wanted. So here is the running right here, running from battle. So pretty much when you activate it, it gets around a number between 1 and 10. And if that number is 7 or higher, the run is successful, which, you know, it shows text. Successful run, ends the battle. If the run is lower, run fail, run stays at false, and then it moves the turn over to start the next turn. And I believe those are all of my features right over there. I did do a little bit more playing around with the battle system itself to get that working properly, but that wasn't like my core feature. That was more of like a side thing. But there is, running from battle, critical hits, and then the art assets that I added in. And then you'll be able to find all the documentation down in the description, including my documented feature that I did not script. Thank you for tuning in.